Hello, how are we all? Good hello, welcome to the stream. Um, yeah, so today we're going to practice with taking on the the pure vessel a few more times, and then following that, we're gonna once we've nailed that down, then we'll try taking on Pantheon 4 again. Um, how's it going, Ibrahim? But yeah, we're gonna get started fairly quick here, I think. It's hello, there we go. That's working. Yeah. So yeah, let's start by getting some practice rounds down with this thing, and hopefully we can beat it fairly easily. Now, I haven't played this since the other day when we streamed, so this is probably going to be not the greatest first round or two. Position badly. Okay. Ow. Okay, yep, first round went terribly. But, you know, not as bad as our original first round. We got through quite a bit there, really. But, getting back into the groove of this game is sort of key sometimes. Okay, come on, pure vessel. Ow. Ah, piss. That went worse than the first round by a long shot. Okay. Right. Let's I don't know what I'm doing here. Why am I playing so badly? Just restart it, please. There we go. This is not a great run, this. I think the issue there is the charms I've got at the moment. I'm finding quite useful for this fight, so I don't really want to, even though it gives me more health, I don't really want to give up the charms I've currently got. I didn't move out of the way of that in time. And I dodged way too early on that one. Oh, right, then he gets this weird tentacle gut thing, and I don't know how to deal with that yet, because we've only seen that once before. Okay. But that was a much better run, at least. What am I doing in this one? Dodged the wrong way. And then walked into that blade. Hello, Gemini. How are you? Yeah, that time I did a lot better. This last time was not so good. Dodge, you mad person. How did I get... Oh, I ran into him, didn't I? Hello, Niles. Welcome in. I got to this guy the other day, and now I'm about to... at about the same point as Angarl. Oh, nice. Well done, Gemini. It's just getting this guy practiced down enough that we can get through him, really, I think, is the... Oh, yeah, that's very accurate, very much pain. In some ways, I think this guy might be harder than Path of Pain. In other ways, I think not. And I think the reason he's harder is we don't get as many attempts. And by that I mean, if we take damage, we start again, whereas Path of Pain, it's like, hey, there's a save point. That went bad. Yep. No, this plan did not work in the slightest. Okay. Oh, Path of Pain was very, very, very difficult, but I think... Like I said, it's only in some ways that this is harder, and it's that you'd start over each time rather than reaching save points. And then you have to go through the whole animation again. piss. Wrong way. Okay. Oh, I would agree. In terms of an actual challenge, Path of Pain is probably more difficult. I wasn't talking about it as an overall thing. I meant, like, you really, really have to get this down to a T in order to do this, because then you also have to go through Kim and all the other bosses in Pantheon 4 or rerun the entire Pantheon. Whereas Path of Pain, I guess if you died at the end to those two things, you'd have to rerun the entire Path of Pain. We just got lucky, I guess. Ah, piss. What am I doing? Shit balls. Glad you managed to beat Path of Pain, Gemini. That's fantastic. Yeah, I think I'd put Zote there as well for hardest bosses, at least for me. Zote, Pure Vessel here, and maybe Radiance. Oh, actually, no. Having tried Nightmare King, I think that might be harder than Radiance. Ow. I was in the wrong spot. Oh, right. That's a move. Piss. Wow, that's kind of nuts, beating it twice for different endings and then again with all the bindings. I mean, well done. That's sounds like a lot of hard work. Well done. Well, that was lucky. In the wrong spot. the wrong spot again. What was that round? That's a pretty good nail set, I think, the Nilo's. It's that's very good for increasing nails. Like at the moment, what we're doing is Carefree Melody, Mark of Strength, Grub Song. Sorry, not Mark of Strength, Fragile Strength. Grub Song, Spore Shroom, Sharp Shadow, and Thorns of Agony. The reason I'm running with this is it's incredibly useful from what I found running through Pantheon 4. The Spore Shroom is useful in the other vessel fight that I've forgotten the name of temporarily, for all the little floaty balloon things. The Thorns of Agony is just useful if you've got a free slot. Grub Song. So yeah, the Sharp Shadow is why I'm going to be dodging by passing through, so I may as well be able to do damage while I'm doing it. Fragile Strength is... I tried it, I wasn't doing particularly well. You know, once I get used to it, I might be able to try it again, but I think at the moment this is the one where this is the set I'm doing the best with. And I also know that this is a set I can probably get through the rest of the Pantheon with as well. And that's why I'm running with it. Because I don't want to have too much of a hard time reaching this guy once I reach the Pantheon, so if I can practice doing the set that I'm going to do the rest of it with, that's probably the best choice. I'm used to melee for the most part, but given that I don't really have time to heal with this guy, I'm just unleashing on him whenever I've got the soul to do so. Except then there's that, and I need to... It seems to be equal to one hit of the standard nail from what I'm finding out. It doesn't increase with Fragile Strength from what I'm testing. But I'm pretty sure Sharp Shadow, from what I have experienced, hits for the same as a basic nail strike, like an upgraded one. It is definitely doing more than 60%, 75% of it. It is hitting for about the same as one full nail strike. Or at least that's what I'm experiencing, so I don't know if maybe they changed that at some point, but that is absolutely what it feels like. With Dash Master. It says you can dash more often, but I haven't really... you still have to touch the ground before you can dash again, right? Does it do more damage with Dash Master? Is that what you mean? Oh. Well, ideally we don't take much damage, so let's try doing that. Doesn't recharge faster. Does it? It doesn't feel faster to recharge to do it again. Okay, we'll try it. Probably worth a go. Oh. Yeah, it definitely doesn't feel like it's recharging faster. That went poorly. Yeah, so, you know, later today, the video that's going up will be the reaction to the moss bag lore video. I'm not entirely sure everyone's gonna like it. I'll be quite honest. I was pretty blunt at certain points. But, you know, it is still me. I still, you know, I'm gonna be as honest as I can be about things, and there are parts of it I liked and parts of it I didn't. But, you know, I guess everyone's gonna have their own opinions, and look, I'm not gonna, yeah, yeah, I don't know. I don't know how to put it without actually saying how I felt and what I felt in different bits, so you'll see that in the video. But, you know, some people may not like it, some people will. But that's tonight's video, at least, or today's video, whichever way you want to look at it. .5. Okay. Dashed far too close to you, dude. I don't know why I tried to go through you there, that was idiotic. Okay, so it's 1.5, it takes 2 slots. Or we can grab Grub Song and get more spells if we get hit. I really don't want to get hit. And I think I might take it off, not because it's not useful. I think for this fight it will be. It's because for the rest of the Pantheon, I don't... I think the other two things are more useful for the rest of the Pantheon. So practicing having to get the right number of hits in is probably my preference. Just because I know I can get through the rest of the Pantheon with this build. And I don't want to have to practice the entire thing. I hope that makes sense, but it's, yeah, I really don't want to have to practice every single one with a build that I get for this guy. I'd rather practice this guy with a build I use for the rest. shit. Ow. Shit. I need to remember to jump at that point. You can change charms every 5 to 10 bosses. Oh, you can too. There's a bench there. It did in parts, Gemini. In other parts, I actually disagreed with some of what he said, and other parts I'm questioning where he pulled it from, because he's very unclear on that. Not to say that I'd necessarily disagree with those bits where I'm questioning where he pulled it from, just I don't understand where it came from, because it sounds... It doesn't sound like anything that I've heard in the game before. So it's... I don't know where it's come from, and so I would just like to know that. Because it could be that I've missed something, it could be that it's from one of the extra sources, like the Wanderer's Journal, or the... I don't know what the other one was, but, you know, I'd like to know where some of it comes from. It is part of the issue that I had with it, was that it was just, this is this, and it's very unclear where the information's coming from. Oh, yeah, get some sleep. Have a good one. Thanks for stopping in. 5 a.m.'s, yeah, that's a, yeah, of course, yeah, go enjoy your sleep. Shit. Yeah, no worries. Like, I find it useful to fall asleep to videos or streams sometimes, so... Yeah, thanks, I'm planning on getting good at this. Oh, the other thing is, I don't know, was it in the video or was it in Mappo's video? I don't know. Could be either one. In hearing Hornet again, it sounds more like, to me, like she's saying get down rather than get good. Like, I can hear why you might think the other, but to me it sounds much more similar to get down, which would also make sense given that what she's doing is shoving a nail in the guy's head and pulling him down to the ground. Oh no, wrong way. Shit. And I started recording another game that may or may not ever surface on the channel. Essentially, I didn't enjoy my experience in the first episode, so I'll record a second one. If I still don't enjoy it, then you will never see it, because I don't want to leave games half-finished. But if I start enjoying it, then you'll see the first episode, which will involve me not enjoying the game. But yeah, it's one of those things where I don't want to leave a series unfinished if it's on the channel. If I've started it and put it on the channel, then I'm going to get to the end of it. Now, what that end means might be 100%, might just be finishing the story. It really depends on what the game is. But yeah, if I haven't enjoyed it, I'll usually play a second episode before I decide whether or not I'm going to put it up. Just so that I know whether or not I've changed my mind. Too early, too early. And then I walked straight into that. Get Good is more a meme joke thing, of course. She isn't really speaking any English words at all, but you know how it is. Yeah, absolutely. It's, you hear something familiar to you in terms of languages, or especially made-up sounds that are unfamiliar. Oh, that works. Oh, I was stood right in the way of that. Yes, yeah, I do. It's, you know, when he announced more or less that he was going to start doing the playthrough, I went, okay, I need to play this as fast as possible so that I get well and truly ahead. So that I can actually watch it without being spoiled on anything. So I managed to get far enough ahead that I could watch it safely, and managed to find pretty much everything myself here before he found it in his playthrough so far, which very pleased I managed to do that, because I really didn't want to be spoiled on anything at all. So yeah, I'm very happy to have managed to get that far out ahead of where he was to be able to watch it, because I enjoy a lot of his playthroughs. I started watching a lot of his content when he started with Mass Effect, was when I found his channel, and then Outer Wilds, fantastic playthrough of that, but don't watch any playthroughs of the Outer Wilds if you haven't played it yourself, because it is a game you're only ever able to play once, so it would suck to deprive yourself of that ability by watching someone else's playthrough. So yeah, play it yourself, then live vicariously through others playing it. If it's Undertale, won't necessarily click with everyone despite its popularity. I'm not going to say what it is, but yeah, I won't say what it is, because if I do end up putting it on the channel, then I'd rather the surprise be there. Whereas if I decided I'm not going to put it on the channel, then I'm happy to share what it was. Shit. Yeah, his Hollow Knight series has been great, but yeah, I've enjoyed a lot of the stuff he's played. I love the Dragon Age series, so I've really been enjoying that playthrough as well. In terms of world building and lore, Dragon Age is amazing. I love it. What charms am I using, Halfgren? I'm using Carefree Melody, Fragile Strength, Sharp Shadow, Thorns of Agony, Grub Song, and Spore Shroom. Yeah, if I decide to scrap the series, I'll tell you what the game was. But I need to record at least one more episode first, which I plan on doing either today after I've edited the StarCraft cartooned episode, or tomorrow, depending on what I have time to do. I'll record a second one. Yeah, so I've played through the Dragon Age games a lot. The first game I've played through to completion, including all of the DLC, 3 times. The second one, I think it's the same, and then I have restarted repeatedly playthroughs of Inquisition, but also only completed that all the way to the end 3 times. But I've played all of them more than that, and then stopped for one reason or another, and then decided to start over rather than continuing old saves. So there's a lot of lore and a lot of things in those games that I've picked up on at this point. I have the World of Dragon Age books as well to get the extra expanded stuff that's really interesting. So it's a series that I won't play on the channel, but when they eventually release the next in the series of that game, I'll probably do a recap of my main playthrough and explain the choices I've gone through by using the Dragon Age keep with that, and explain who my characters are in that particular set of playthroughs, yeah, sort of catch everyone up, because I will play the new game on the channel, and I want people to know where I'm up to and why I've chosen the things I have, and who I've chosen to play as, all of that, when I get to that point. But I love lore and world building, and I think that's part of why I really enjoy this game. I really like Metroidvanias too, but the lore and world building in this is very clever, especially with how it approaches it. shit.
Oh, I didn't die there. I thought I'd died, so I sort of put it down and wasn't paying attention. Okay, that went poorly. But yeah, I like a huge variety of different game styles, so I'm gonna play, you know, things that appeal to me. Mostly things I haven't played before, but every now and then I will play a game I have played before because I want a refresher on what it is, and I can't remember it properly is another reason. So in that vein is things like that I plan on playing on the channel is the Monkey Island games, because I have not played Curse of Monkey Island, which is widely considered to be the best of the series, and I can't remember the first two particularly well, so I'll replay it and it'll feel like a new playthrough because I've only ever played through the first two once, and it was like 13 years ago. And I can't remember what happens other than who the villain is and how the end of the first game ends. I remember that bit. Another example is something like Myst, which I loved my experience through Myst, and the remake of Riven is coming out sometime in the next couple of years, and I want to go through Myst again because I can't remember that either. I remember like snippets of it, but I really want to play through Riven when that comes out, and then far more in the near future, in the very near future, I will probably be streaming Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, because I'm looking forward to Jedi Survivor, and might as well catch myself back up on that because I have played that through to once when it first came out, and then done a very small portion of a second playthrough but didn't finish that. So I'll probably stream that rather than make it a recorded series just so I can push through it quickly enough. But before we get there, I'm going to be streaming this, obviously. No, I saw that too when he got through Path of Pain. Yeah, I completely understand why he felt that way. Like, I think Ibrahim mentioned at the time when we got through it that if I died to them, I'd have to start the whole thing over. But then seeing it happen to someone was, oof. Poor guy. So glad we that I managed to beat that on a first go through to that end bit. That was an absolutely terrible run so far. Yeah, there we go. So outside of Metroidvanias, what are some of your favorite games, out of curiosity? What am I doing here? That makes a lot of sense, Ibrahim. I in the situation, I was just so I wasn't expecting this that I didn't really think to pause. I know you kept stressing it right beforehand, and the moment the fight was done, I remembered you said that, and I just went, okay. It just in that moment was just such a what's going on? Deep Rock Galactic. I've not played it, but I know a tiny bit about it. A friend of mine was playing a lot of it at one point and was telling me about it, but I've not actually played it myself. But it looked kind of fun. Dwarves mining somewhere, and you gotta deal with waves of enemies while completing the objectives. Mainly Souls game and Zelda. Interestingly enough, Zelda is the only... It's not the only, okay. It is the most major Nintendo series that I've never touched a single entry. I've not played... Actually, I've played 2 minutes of Zelda, one of the Zelda games on the Nintendo 64 at a friend's house when I was a kid. But it was like 2 minutes, and then it was sort of like... They wanted the controller back, and I went, well, I don't want to sit here watching you play a game I don't know. Can we switch to Mario Kart or something? That is the extent of the Zelda game, and the part that I played was like a flute segment where I had to like press the right buttons at the right time to play a flute. Oris and guacamoles, yeah. Monster Boy and the Cursed Kingdom. I have no idea what Monster Boy is. I've never heard of that one. Okay, I'm playing terribly right now. So, as a break from this so that I can sort of just, you know, build up nerve again, we're going to... What have we got to do here still? There's really not anything else to do, is there? Elden Ring, Sekiro, Zelda, Twilight Princess, Shogun 2, Total War, and Hollow Knight. Oh, that's fair. I know I'm the outlier on this. I think my favourite Total War game so far, having played most of them, not all of them. I think I've only played a tiny bit of Shogun 2, but not very much of that one. But my favourite one so far is probably Troy. I know most people go, I don't like Troy, but I actually really enjoy Troy Total War. It's such a interesting take on it. It's challenging, it's difficult, it is different to a lot of other Total War games in that it's taken some concepts over from the Warhammer ones. But it is... I truly enjoy that one. As for Elden Ring and Sekiro, I think I've said it before, is that I having seen tiny bits of gameplay of it and trailers, there's not really been much to draw me to that or the Souls series. It looks, to me, not that enjoyable. Not to say that it isn't, and I might change my mind if I eventually give them a go. But it's it sort of reminds me of Shadow of the Colossus, and this is going to hurt anyone who likes that game, but I really didn't like Shadow of the Colossus. I felt like the bosses just really weren't that interesting to me. The entire place was so vast and empty. It wasn't my sort of game. I know that a lot of people love it, and I'm not saying that it's a bad game. It just, to me, it wasn't my sort of thing, and Elden Ring and the Dark Souls series in some ways sort of remind me of that, and maybe that's why I'm not that interested in picking them up. But I tried Shadow of the Colossus because everyone was saying how good it was, and I couldn't stand it. I really didn't enjoy it at all. Troy is one of the latest games in that series. It is... I think it came out 2021, maybe? 2020? Somewhere around there. Like, it is quite recent. It basically gives you 3 ways to play the main campaign. You can play it as historically accurate, sort of semi-mythological, which is anything mythological, like creatures like Medusa or things like that, are given a real-world explanation, so they're brought into it. So things like centaurs are just incredibly good mounted cavalry. You know, minotaurs are people who wear bull skulls for helmets. And then they go a third version, which is full mythological. So you have 3 different ways to play it. So yeah, Troy is one of the latest in the Total War series, and it is... yeah, it gives you 3 different ways to play the campaign, and it is a lot of fun. I think all of the different versions have their own merits. The historical one, you know, built off of things like the Iliad, but you know, taking as accurate a way as possible to the era. And then yeah, it's just really interesting. I thought, at least. You also have heroes, and in the historical one, they're not super powerful. As you go up the different versions of the campaign to the like the semi mythological one, they become more powerful, and then if you go full mythological, they are like incredibly powerful, like heroes of actual Greek mythology sort of level. But they're sort of who run your empire. Is you know, options being like Agamemnon, Achilles, Odysseus, Menelaus, Ithaca. No, hang on. Odysseus is from Ithaca. Freak. Who else is there. I've forgotten the other ones. But you can also play on the other side as like Trojan nations with Troy or Hector. And then one of the DLC gives you access to 2 different Amazon factions, one with Hippolyta leading them, and the other one with... Oh, I've forgotten who the other one is that they have leading the other Amazon faction. But yeah, it's a lot of fun. Yeah, I hear it's Souls inspired. I see a lot of influence from No, that's fair. They are big commitments, Total War games. And if you're talking about how they designed the change in the city planning and stuff with Rome 2, like that change, yes, that still exists in Troy. I agree. I preferred the old style city planning from the older games. But I think Troy has the best version of that new city planning system. It does it the best out of any game so far for that new type of city building system. But again, like the old one was so much more enjoyable for city building part of it. What am I doing in this run? Yeah, no, absolutely. I've played very little of Shogun 2. I think I've played, I don't know, maybe an hour or 2 of it. I think at that point I was sort of going through the Total War games, and I'd played like an hour or 2 of Shogun before I realised I was a little burnt out on the series and needed to play a different sort of game for a while. And I never came back to it. It wasn't that it was bad, it just, you do burn out on games sometimes. Or at least I do. And I sort of started with, I think the original Rome was the one that I played first. And then I played Medieval 2 before trying Shogun 2. Shit. What did they change with the generals in Rome 2? I've forgotten. It's been a while since I played Rome 2. Oh, yeah, okay, that part of it. Yeah, I forgot that changed to that. Yeah, you still need that with the new one, with Troy. But they do make that a bit better. It isn't, like, you still need the generals. You can technically have as many as you want, but it starts... the more armies you have, the higher the taxation. Sorry, the higher your upkeep ends up being. And so you want to find this balance between having the right number of armies to. So it's not so much you are limited on how many generals you can have. It's just you probably don't want too many armies moving around the map because you can't afford it until you can afford it, and then you go nuts. Once you can afford it, I think in the playthrough I stopped to play some other games, but in the one I was playing, I was up to like 6 or 7 generals with armies, all of varying sizes. But yeah, you can absolutely not limited by how many generals you can have now. Yeah, that's what I always do, is I specialize cities in different fields, and then I can understand that. Again, I think that it's done a lot better in Troy than it has been in the other ones, but yes, you still need the generals. Well, I still remember, because it's actually really interesting me. Gemini, Monster Boy and I've forgotten the name of the series, and I can't really scroll up at the moment. Monster Boy and the something. What sort of game is it? Because I have never heard of it and don't even have a clue what it would fit into. I am really not playing particularly well right now. I need to get better. Maybe I'm talking too much. Oh, come on. I thought I was standing in the right spot. I was not. Oh, it's a Metroidvania. Oh, nice. Okay. Cool. I will add that to my list of Metroidvanias I need to play then. Nuts. I don't know if that's the reason. I know they like they look similar to me a bit, but I think that the actual gameplay itself as well, just something about it just really hasn't grabbed me. I'll probably try it eventually. I have not played Dragon's Dogma. I know pretty much nothing about it other than the fact you hunt dragons. As I've said before, like, eventually I might get around to maybe one of the Souls-like games or Souls series, but I haven't really. I'm gonna let him kill me and we'll try this again. 2018. Oh, that's kind of cool. That sounds really interesting. Transforming into animals. But yeah, I might change my mind and play one of the Souls games or Souls-like games like Elden Ring eventually. There hasn't really been, from what I've seen of it and what I've seen in trailers, there hasn't been that much that's grabbed my attention about them. I really should have done that. Okay. Yeah, I know so little about it, so I couldn't really. You know, it might be something I get to at some stage, and essentially the point of this is to get me to play games I haven't played before. The point of this channel. Rather than keep going back to the same games all the time. Also, you know, I wanted to do YouTube content for a long while. For one reason or another, it never really stuck with me particularly well, but I think starting with this game has certainly helped that. Oh, that was stupid. No. So, in Metroidvanias, for all of you here, is it... What draws you to them? Is it the progression with the abilities? Is it the exploration? The combat style of stuff? The platforming? Or just like the package of all of them together? Because for me, I think the two things I enjoy the most is the finding out these abilities that you get, the exploration part of it, and having some nice combat is the other part. Having good jump mechanics, having nice combat, pretty big to me as well, I guess. But yeah, exploration and discovery are like the top part of that for me. But if you like, exploration and discovery, honestly, for me, Outer Wilds is my favorite game. Full stop. Like, without question. And it is due to exploration and discovery. But it is a game that is designed in such a way, like, in some ways it's got some Metroidvania elements, but it's all in terms of learning. Like, there are more abilities than you realize there are, but you can do all of them from the start of the game, and it all comes down to learning that you can actually do them. If you know precisely what you're doing, you can finish that game in 20 minutes. But the thing is, learning and exploring teaches you more and more about the world, more and more of what you're doing. And that's the fun of that game, is the exploration and the discovery of learning all these abilities you didn't know you had, or learning how the world interacts with it. I say world, never mind. Learning how different things interact with each other with it. But yeah, once you have played it through once, you have learnt it all. And it's very hard to play it again because you know everything. And you know all the abilities you have. And so the exploration is reduced because you've learnt it. But it is approached so well that it is my favourite game, full stop. Like, it is the top of my list of games. And yet, you know, the only way I can get to go through it again is to watch other people play it now. Because of how it's approached. Which is the only downside of that game, unfortunately. But it is so worth the journey. Exploration and combat, that's fair. Yeah, I mean, you know, space isn't for everyone. I love space, I love, you know, whether it's sci-fi, whether it's being built in actual reality. That's one of my passions, is sci-fi and actual space, like astronomy, astrophysics sort of stuff. That was a bad move. But yeah, if it's not your sort of thing, that's fine. Too early. Dodged too early. Okay, I need to focus on this a little bit so I'm playing better. What was that? I love fantasy too. Fantasy, I think the thing that I require most from either sci-fi or fantasy is not necessarily real-world laws of physics or rules, but whatever laws, whatever physics, whatever rules they set in place about their world, that they stick to them. I think that's what makes me enjoy a world, like a fictional world or a universe, whichever you want to call it. You know, whether it be sci-fi or fantasy, as long as they stick to the to the rules they've put in place. Be it magic, be it you know, this is the way science works in this universe. Whatever it is, it doesn't have to match real world, but it has to be consistent with itself. And when they're inconsistent, then I start to really dislike it. Like, I was and am a Star Wars fan, but I was a massive Star Wars fan up until the sequels. The Star Wars sequels absolutely trashed every single rule. Not every single rule, probably about 70 to 80% of the rules that have been put in place for how the Force worked, how the universe worked, and I hated them for it. Particularly the second and third sequels, like Last Jedi and Rise of Skywalker. But also those movies, those sequel films, do not work on their own. They require all three of them to... Like, none of them stand on their own, but they even contradict themselves without looking at previous Star Wars work. Even within those three, they contradict rules that they've created in them. And that frustrates the hell out of me. So I basically have to pretend to keep enjoying, in order to keep enjoying Star Wars, that they don't exist, full stop. They never happened, they don't exist. They are not part of Star Wars, in my opinion. They are high-budget fan films. Bad high-budget fan films. But, you know, I kind of have to do that with certain things, and, now, there are some shows, some movies where they realise they've not matched their rules up properly, and so they go back and they go, okay, here's the explanation of it, here's why it does actually work, or here's, you know, it wasn't quite what they thought it was, here's how it really was, you know, let's try and repair the damage we've done. And I respect them when they got something wrong. You know, when they've gotten something wrong and they want to do everything they can to fix it. I respect it. I still don't like that they broke their rules. I think they should have paid more attention to them to begin with. But I respect that they want to undo the damage they've done. Star Wars has not done that. They have doubled down on sequels. And that's why I don't love it as much as I used to, because they are determined to make them like, this is how it really works. But they are so broken, so absolutely broken, I don't care what you put in place to try and explain it, you can't. They are broken even within themselves, let alone the larger Star Wars universe. So trying to just double down and go, well, that's what you've got, is ridiculous. You should distance yourself from them at that point, in order to try and fix things. But no, they don't want to do that, and it's why I don't enjoy Star Wars as much anymore. The other thing is, like, their comics and books that basically ruled out as being part of canon. Like, they are canon, but they're not, because the moment a TV show or a movie supersedes it, they're no longer counted as canon. So they keep changing the rules and what is, so there's no point reading any of the books or comics anymore, because they don't count, because the moment they want to change it, they will. It's, yeah, I used to love it. I still love old Star Wars before Disney. I don't love new Star Wars. I like certain elements of it. I like things like The Mandalorian. I like some of that, but as a whole, it's just new Star Wars kind of ruined a lot of the love I had for it. Except for the Jedi game, Fallen Order, and the new one I'm hoping is just as good. That was done incredibly well, so that is why I want to get into that again. But yeah, you know, if you're not a sci-fi or a sort of fan, then I can understand how they wouldn't appeal to you at all anyway. But yeah, for me, I really just require consistency in the rules created. For fantasy or sci-fi worlds, universes, whatever. No, that's fair. For me, it was you know, a massive part of growing up was loving Star Wars, and part of that came down to Knights of the Old Republic. Really got me into Star Wars. I then read the Knights of the Old Republic comic series. I played the Old Republic online game for a long time, and I still go back to it every now and then. It sort of was a huge part of me growing up was Star Wars, so it's why I have strong feelings about it, why I am so annoyed at the sequels. Look, there's a lot of problems with the prequels, but they're consistent to their rules. There are a lot of problems with the prequels in terms of storytelling, in terms of like characters, stuff like that, but they are consistent with the rules that were set forth. Why? Because George Lucas is still in charge of it, and he created the rules in the first place. He just, you know, wasn't the greatest storyteller, but he's very good at creating a universe. Wasn't recharged yet, was I? Oh, I did that way too early. Ah, okay. Yeah, I tend to like to go in depth if I enjoy the lore and the world. I tend to try and go pretty in depth with it. At that point, so, you know, one of the reasons why I despised Rings of Power was their absolute disregard of rules and changing lore that didn't suit their show, doing ludicrous nonsense things that didn't make sense within the world that Tolkien had created. Like, they really screwed that up. Because I love Tolkien's books. And the films previously made. Particularly, you know, Lord of the Rings. The Hobbit's got some good points, some bad points. Overall, I enjoy them, but I can see why some people don't. But the Rings of Power just was nonsense. Especially the 20 recurring orcs that only ever appear when they need to appear, and yet somehow an entire army exists. Or the ever-expanding village of people that seems to be incredibly tiny when you first meet it, of like, you know, 10 people, but then more and more seem to appear out of nowhere of it when needed, and then disappear when not needed. Yeah, that's the new Lord of the Rings one by Amazon. Like, this town is gigantic. This village is gigantic when they need more extras. And it's tiny all the rest of the time. And it seems to, on a dime, shift between the two. Like, not even with any real consistency or reason why. It shifts whenever they need it to shift, from being small to being large. Except that there's only, like, ever 3 houses of this village being shown. So it's got, you know, upwards of 50 to 100 people when it needs to, even though there's only 3 buildings in this entire village. Or 4 buildings. It's such a ludicrously small number. And one of them is a pub. And yet the rest of the time they show it as being tiny. It is ridiculous. I don't know why I kept standing there, that was stupid. Oh, no, don't watch it. It honestly will frustrate you more than... Unless you if you get really drunk and you want to watch something that's so bad that it's funny, that's about the time when you watch it. It's a bit like, you know, one of those really bad movies, because it is just... It's got some amazing graphics. They show Numenor pretty well, but story-wise, the way they've like done their environments and their extras, nah. What's more is it looks cheaper than the original Lord of the Rings films, even though that one season has a higher budget than the entire 3 Lord of the Rings films. Like, it looks cheaper and worse than the original 3 Lord of the Rings films. And they had a lower budget. Like, even the graphics that people go, oh, it looks so good, still doesn't look as good as Lord of the Rings. So where did the budget go? Like, it does look really good when they do good graphics, when they do good scenery, but Lord of the Rings look better. So where did the budget go? That's like a huge question I have for that show. It didn't go to the writers. It certainly didn't go to paying actors or extras. CGI graphics cost a lot, but not as much as what the budget ended up being. And if it did, then they got ripped off by whatever company they hired to do it. That went badly. Yeah, the original Lord of the Rings films are fantastic. They were done so incredibly well. And very faithful to Tolkien for about, 85 to 90% of it. There are certain things that aren't quite right. But, the fact that they managed to adapt that book series into 3 amazing films, I'm happy to with it's not quite accurate to the book in very minor spots. Like, it's not even major spots, it's tiny little things. That went poorly. Okay, that went badly. But I'm yeah. I'm slowly getting better, I feel. I might not be. You might be seeing this and going, oh no, he's not doing very well. But I feel like I'm getting a bit better. Oh, except for this round. This round is going poorly. Yeah, he is very tough. Part of that is the 2 health per hit. I think if he was only taking 1, I think I could deal with it. Because I could, you know, even if I couldn't heal particularly well, I think I'd be able to deal with it. Not a linear experience. No, that's fair. I think that's pretty accurate. It's certainly not very linear here. That makes a lot of sense. Very cicada-like in terms of design too. Cicada, whichever way you want to say it. Being Australian, it's usually cicada. I don't think Americans call them cicadas. Could be wrong on that. Feel free to correct me. Piss. The one thing about Mappo's playthrough I've got to say, for someone who has never played a platformer or a Metroidvania, damn, he picks things up quick. Like, just in terms of how long it took him to get used to, like, Path of Pain, among other things, wow, he picks things up quick. Like, I've been consistently impressed with his playthrough. And also the fact he's never played any of them, and yet he still manages to find all of this hidden stuff on his own. Like, that is very, very impressive to me. Because, yeah, it's, I mean, as other people who have played Metroidvanias, you know, I think everyone pretty much can say their first experience was probably not as good as they are at Metroidvanias these days, because now you know the tropes and the different bits and pieces to look out for. But when you first play it, like, whenever you played your first, like, there's no way it went that well. Nuts. Oh, absolutely. The controls on this game feel fantastic. Like, it's... everything about it is consistent with what you think it's going to do. Now, every now and then you screw up and think, hang on, that's not... What happened there? But in terms of how it feels, like, it feels like you're going to do what you're going to do, pretty much. Hollow Knight was your first? Okay. Which other ones have you played, Ibrahim, since Hollow Knight? Two Ori games? Okay. I would... hang on, what's a good one to advise you for? You like the combat and the exploration. I think you'd like Axiom Verge 2. I don't know about Axiom Verge 1. They are very different games to one another. They are set in the same universe, but they are really not sequels to each other. So I don't know why it's called 2 and not given some subtitle. But Axiom Verge 2, looking at, like, how Hollow Knight is, the games you've said you like combat and exploration, I think that would be one you'd really enjoy. Axiom Verge 1 is a little bit more sci-fi, but not aliens as such. It's like a... It's... I don't want to spoil the story if you want to try that one, but it is trippy. It is, like, absolutely trippy, like, alternate sort of timeline of Earth sort of robots and things, and it is... Yeah, it is very, very trippy, the first Axiom Verge. The second one has elements of trippiness, but most of it is fairly straightforward. But the first one is off the rails in terms of, like, the stuff that happens in there. But it's very consistent to its own rules and own universe. It's just wrapping your head around that can be very difficult. But yeah, the sequel sounds like is more your style, I think, because they change almost everything about it. The way the combat works, the way that, like, the story is quite different. Like, Axiom Verge 2 is such a very different game to the first one. They're both great in my opinion. Personally, I prefer the first one a little bit, but the style of combat is very different. So it's if you're looking for ones that are kind of like this, Axiom Verge 2 is closer. If you play it enough and you get used to it, the lore of that game is so much fun, and piecing the bits together, it really requires both games to piece the lore together properly. On its own, the first game is like, the fuck is happening? But you can start to piece it together with help from the second one. So yeah, don't worry about starting with the sequel. If you like, because they are, I say sequel. Axiom Verge 2 isn't a sequel. It's just set in the same universe. But don't worry about starting with Axiom Verge 2 as opposed to Axiom Verge, because they're connected, but they're also their own separate stories. You don't need the first one to get the second one. And you might be better off starting with the second one for your playstyle, by the sound of things. And then going back to the first if you enjoyed the second. Which I think you will. I think it'll fit your sort of style. But the gameplay is entirely different between the two, so don't expect to get the same experience from the first if you go back and play it. Because it is a very, very different game. Chronic fatigue sucks. There was a point where one of my friends had it when I was in high school, and I think my sister had like a mild version of it when she was going through high school as well. I don't know, both of them managed to get better from it to some degree, but I don't really understand much about it to understand how you recover from it, but seeing what it did to people, like, yeah, I get why you'd be picky. It's rough. It's a rough thing to go. Rough syndrome to have. It was an Epic Games exclusive, but I think that comes down to it's made by a solo developer, like he did it all by himself. I know that Hollow Knight rather is made by 3, but he did it all by himself. And I'm pretty sure Epic offered him a reasonable sum to help finish the game, and he needed it. Because, like, if you know the story, like I saw a documentary after finishing the first game that he was in, his life went to shit after finishing that first game. Like, within a week of that first game releasing, his dog died. Then a month or 2 after that, his kid was born, but was really in bad health, and he was in the hospital for a large portion of the first year of his life. Like, his life went downhill hard after finishing that first game. And most of the money he made off of it was put into supporting his kids' medical bills and stuff like that, because America, and medical bills being a major issue there. So yeah, he needed the extra funding from places like Epic for the second game. So I get why he made those deals. I think it was Epic and PlayStation exclusive at first, and then went to Xbox and Steam later. I walked into that. I should have waited a second longer. Yes, timed exclusive. Yeah. But, like, the amount... I mean, it's... Obviously, its music's not as good as this game, but even the music and the sound design, he did all of that by himself too. Like, he did the coding, the art, the music, the sound design. Absolutely every element of that game was done by him. So, it's, it is incredibly impressive, the fact he's done all that on his own. Now, it is a pixel art game as opposed to this sort of thing, but yeah, that's... I get that. I've got some issues with their current practices. I like what they used to be, but I think they're very innovative when it comes to game engines and stuff. Like, they have one of the best engines. But yeah, I completely understand why you wouldn't like Epic. I mean, this being made by a team of 3 is also incredibly impressive. I'm not trying to diminish that at all, because this is amazing for a 3-person team. I mean, it's amazing as a game in and of itself, but when you add the fact that only 3 people were working on it, it's even more impressive. But yeah, to find, you know, I've honestly forgotten his name temporarily, the guy who did Axiom Verge, but he, the fact that he managed to do both of those games solo is very impressive. The only thing that wasn't done by him is Axiom Verge 1 now has some extra modes in it, which were originally mods, and then he asked the modders if he could add them into the game, so he added the modders into the credits as a result. So it's, you know, he added in a randomizer that was originally a mod. He added in a speedrun mode that was originally a mod. Like, he, you know, those things, like, he appreciated the modding community to the point where he asked if he could make it part of the official game. Which, you know, that's fantastic. So there are other people in the credits of the first one, because there were modders who did things with it that he liked and asked if he could add it in. Doing worse in these last couple of runs. That went bad. Trying to think of other Metroidvanias that might fit your sort of playstyle and the things you really enjoy about them, being the exploration and the combat. I'm thinking you're probably going to like the Castlevania side of things a little bit more than the Metroid side of things. I haven't played very much of the Castlevanias. It's something I intend to do on the channel eventually. But I think that's more your end of things, by the sound of it. Not to say Metroid's bad, it's just their combat styles are very different to each other. Castlevania is a lot more melee focused. Metroid is a lot more ranged. Both are fun, both are good from what little I played of Castlevania back when. I can't even remember which game it was, but I only played like 15 minutes of it or something. Symphony of the Night. Is that Super Nintendo sort of Sega Mega Drive or Genesis, whichever country you're in, sort of era? Ah, piss. How many rounds are there? Symphony, so in terms of Castlevania games, when I want to get around to them, what ones would you advise playing in what order? Because obviously I don't want to go back for the original one, because the NES games of this genre, looking at Metroid as an example, not a good place to start. I know Symphony of the Night is incredibly well regarded, but if I was to, like, what starting point for someone with like, the sort of Metroid experience that I've got with it. I went the wrong direction. PS1, okay. So that's late Super Nintendo, early Nintendo 64 era then? I'm just trying to position where it is. I know PS1's sort of its own thing. It's just not a system I had. I had the PS2. Oh, that was lucky. $97. Okay. Far away year, I guess it is at this point. It doesn't feel that far away at times, though. Though I was 7, so... 97 was also the year of Donkey Kong Country 3, I think. Could be wrong on that. That might have been 96, but I think it's 97. This actually weirdly reminds me of the Donkey Kong Country games for some reason. Like, there's something about it that just brings back memories of that series. Hollow Knight, I mean. And I can't quite pick what it is. I guess the boss fights kind of remind me of the King K. Rool sort of boss fight at the end of each of the games. Or the spider boss in Donkey Kong Country 3. They just have that sort of type of challenge to them, of learning patterns, making sure you don't screw up. Also, the minecart levels kind of remind me of Path of Pain, or the other way around. In that, you screw up, good luck, you're starting over, have fun. Do it too much, and you're restarting more than just a little bit. Yeah, I did play Donkey Kong 64. I had that one as well. I enjoyed it. I know there was a lot of parts of it that were kind of tedious, but I really enjoyed Donkey Kong 64. The boss fight at the end of that game against King K. Rool, now that was talk about a hard boss. That was purely unfair, that boss. At times, because you had to be pixel perfect with what you did at some certain points of that. But I do remember beating it eventually. It just took me a very long time. I need to jump there. Yes and no. Not personally. I did most of it, and then I lent it to a friend, and rather than starting a new game, he continued on mine, and he got the rest of it done. So, not personally, I had intended to at the time. I just, for whatever reason, he decided he didn't want to start a new one. He wanted to play on my profile, and then when I got it back, he, it was finished. Because cartridge games work that way. It was saved to the cartridge. Yeah, it's kind of demoralizing to, get so far, lend it to someone, they finish it, and then go, well, now if I want to see the bits I didn't, I have to do the whole thing again. Yeah. It's kind of, so I just played on the profile he'd made and just kept replaying sections. Oh, no, sorry. On the profile he'd continued and just kept replaying sections rather than start again. Obviously you couldn't then get the golden bananas, you had to do the challenges without the reward, but it was just easier than starting over. I didn't own them, I did play them. I hired them at the time from like the video store down the road when I was a kid, and played them that way. I didn't like them as much as I liked Donkey Kong Country, but I could still, they were still fun. I think my sister enjoyed them a lot more than I did. Why did I walk into that? That went poorly. I think one of my favourite Nintendo 64 games was Perfect Dark. That was so flippin' good. the controls for Perfect Dark are incredibly outdated, but essentially, you know, everyone talks about how good GoldenEye 00, like GoldenEye was on the Nintendo 64, and it was great, but GoldenEye was Rare taking what they did with GoldenEye and improving on it. And as a result, like, some of the levels are weirdly repeated because they just picked it up and took it from one game to another, but they improved on so much of it, and it was fantastic. Part of Rare Replay? Yeah, I don't think I revisited them when they did the Rare Replay thing. As I said, like, I enjoyed them at the time. I preferred Donkey Kong 64, but that's not to say that Banjo-Kazooie games were bad, because they weren't. They were still good. I don't think I have the same sort of love for them as I had for the other games I had. Has the same sort of love as most people seem to have for the series. Would be a better way to put that. I should have jumped instead of dash. I have not played Jak and Daxter, no. That was a PlayStation series game, I think, but I never got into it. I have no knowledge. I think it's a platformer of some sort, but other than that, I have no idea. Oh, for Smash Ultimate? Yeah, that was a huge surprise and was fantastic. Yeah, no, that's fair, Ibrahim. There's a bunch of PlayStation exclusive games that I wanted to play over the years, and couldn't for one reason or another. I did have a PS2 and a PS3, though I barely ever played the PS3. It came for free with a TV my parents bought. whenever PS3 first came out. I don't know, I think I was in my mid to late teens. And yeah, so there were certain games I wasn't really playing on PS2 or PS3 at the time, which were like the God of War games, and going back and trying to get into them now is like, oh, the combat's so awful. I want to play for the lore and the stuff, but oh wow, I really don't like the controls on those. Oh, the Spyro games are good. I didn't play very much of them. I only played a tiny bit. But I had one on GBA. That was a crossover with a Crash Bandicoot game, where everyone, kind of like how Pokemon does it, if one person had one game and the other had the other, you could do some weird trading things. So I had one and my sister had the other. One of them was Spyro in Crash Bandicoot's universe, and the other was Crash in Spyro's universe. It was fascinating. I'm not sure when I'll have time to get to it, but I will add it to the list of my games I intend to eventually play. What am I doing? There we go. Spyro, that is. The Reignited trilogy. They're the first three? No. Trying to think of other really good games that were around. There's a whole bunch of games I think we all played that, looking back at, really aren't good. But we enjoyed them as kids. I think Gex is one of those, if you ever played Gex, where it's got a lot of fun, a lot of nostalgic reasons, but it really isn't a great game. What am I doing? Why am I just sitting here taking the damage? This run is balked. My progression on this in terms of getting better is incredibly slow. What am I doing? Wrong direction. Why did I just take all that unnecessary damage? Video game donkey. Not sure who that is. King's Quest 8. I've heard of King's Quest, but that's about it. I've heard of it. I have no idea what sort of game it is. I have absolutely no knowledge of it at all. So I didn't even know there were 8 of them. What am I doing? What am I doing? To run it and watch stuff at the same time. Okay, that's in an emulator. Emulators don't normally take a lot of processing power, do they? Or is it a lot later in terms of, sorry, I might be thinking of the wrong era for that game. If it's a PS2 era, then emulators probably require to be a lot more powerful. Shit balls, you freaking shit face thing of shitting. I'll do one more run and then I might take a we'll take a 10-minute break while I go grab a snack or something. Oh, why did I dash just then? That was the wrong time to dash. No! From 1997. Well, that'd be like PS1 and very beginning of Nintendo 64, late Super Nintendo era. So it should. I'm surprised it didn't run better then. I think King's Quest 8 is PC only. Was it... Why did you need an emulator? For a PC title? Shouldn't it run anyway, and you just have to put it in administrator mode and compatibility backwards to Windows XP? Should do it, usually. Oh! That makes a lot of sense. No, I hadn't noticed that, Gemini. That's really interesting. I hadn't picked up on that. But yeah, when I think about it, that is the same. Yeah, that's really cool. Yeah, I'm just surprised that you couldn't like get it to run with setting it to run in compatibility mode and stuff. That's all. I mean, sure. I mean, emulating an old computer is pretty taxing because I mean, I know of ways to do that, but no, that's fair. Yeah. Anyway, we'll take a 10-minute break, and I'll grab a snack or something, and yeah, get something to eat if you want. Go to the toilet or whatever it is that you want to do during the 10-minute break here, and then we'll be back and give this a lot more tries until we nail it. And nail it at least 3 times, because I'm not going into this with a fluke win and having an issue at the end of Pantheon 4, because that would suck. Yeah, we'll be back shortly.
Okay. Welcome in, KV. How's it going? Okay. So, I've got myself my snack. I've got some water, which I've apparently gone most of the way through already. And we're ready to try again. Oh, it hadn't recharged. Shit. Where am I positioning myself? What am I doing? What? Okay, just reset it. Come on. This is going poorly. That's a good idea. I've also just had another one which I probably should have thought of sooner. Oh, it's 3 slots. Yeah. Okay. No, no, not ascended. Oh. Ah. Nope. What is the difference between attuned and ascended anyway?
I assume Ascended is the harder version of the two. Descending Dark. I gotta remember to do that, but that's a good idea, because it gives you those iframes, doesn't it? Ah, fuck. What am I doing? I just reset it. I'm gonna take this thing. Oh, okay. I'm gonna... No, give me... this back. So, he was doing 4 masks of damage during that. I did not pick up on that. Okay, Descending Dark. You piece of shit. Shit. How much damage does Descending Dark do compared to Shrieking Abyss? Is that what it's called? The upwards one. I know that it also gives you iframes, which is a big benefit, but... okay, that didn't work. Piss. Piss. Hello? No. Okay, so Abyssal Shriek Abyss Shriek thing is better if you can hit with all of it, but not so much if you can't. Fine, reset. Let's go again. Actually, you know what? I've got my... What am I doing? Charm setup is Carefree Melody, Fragile Strength, Sharp Shadow, Thorns of Agony, Spore Shroom, and Grub Song. Reason I'm using Spore Shroom is because when it comes to the Pantheon, I know that I'm going to fight the other vessel thing, and the best way I've found to deal with the stupid floaty balloon things is Spore Shroom. Grub Song is, again, because of the Pantheon, it's useful to be able to gain soul back. So I'm practicing with these ones on, basically to make sure that when I get to it as the Pantheon, because I'm building it for this and the rest of the Pantheon, that I'm able to deal with everything in it that comes up. I know I could make it easier on myself here now, but I think it's probably better to get used to what I'm going to have to deal with him using. He does contact damage the rest of the time too, because I keep bumping into him every now and then. What, against the balloons? Defender's Crest is better against the balloons. Because in the moments where I want to heal in that, the balloons just come and hit me unless I'm using Spore Shroom. Okay, sure, I'll use that then. Do me some extra damage here too, so... Piss. Moved too early. Oh, what was that? Yeah, I'll go practice on him now then, and then we'll pick this back up. So he is over here somewhere. Where is he? Is he down on the lower level? Is that it? No, that's Hornet. That's it. Which version of him? It's this version, right? It's Lost Kin in Pantheon 4. Ah! This is... I mean, I'm not playing particularly well here, but... Okay, yeah, that works quite well for that. Thank you. You've got to be kidding me. Okay, why am I sucking so bad at this? Like, it has taken me almost as long as running through the path of pain to get used to this guy. Oh, I thought you were about to dash. What am I doing? Why am I so bad at this boss? I am absolutely terrible at this. Oh. Why can't I do this? I feel like I got close a few, like, probably, I don't know, 5 or 6 times earlier in the stream, and then since then I've just not gotten that close. Oh, I ran into that. I didn't mean to. What are you doing?
This is a joke. Why am I playing so badly? Yeah, it kind of feels like a, when he's blocking, don't hit him, do spell. Yeah, yeah. Okay, thank you. My hands don't cooperate with my brain. My brain's saying one thing, my hands have already started doing another. Or simply haven't started doing anything at all at times too. Yeah, I'm starting this again, come on. No, don't waste that. There we go. I dodged the wrong way. There we go, that's better. That wasn't. Why didn't it dodge when I told it to? Oh, it's that one. My reflexes on when he does the stupid tentacly nonsense is terrible. I think he's about to do something else, and I'm not even sure what I think he's going to do, but I don't think he's about to do that until it's too late and I'm in the middle of it. And my brain is just doing the wrong thing here. You can always change back when you are more comfortable. Train to heal yourself when he's down. Ah, come on. What is this round? Okay, let's do that. Let's get rid of that for now. Let's try that. Just for now. Till I can get to the end of this and get used to him, and then I'll switch back. You're right, it's probably best to do that. So I can get used to it all.
balls. Oh, come on. Get out of there. Why are you doing this? What was that? What was that? What was that? Okay. Abyssal Shriek works really well if you can time it to be the right moment. Is what I've just discovered. When he's standing still, when you know he's not going to do anything but stand in that spot. He's not going to try and dodge, or teleport, or dash. Not in those moments. Oh, look, just reset it. What am I doing? Piss. I dodged the wrong way. I dodged the wrong way. And then I just stood there to take more damage. What am I doing? Doing? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Okay. I'm going to switch my charms because for some reason I'm sucking so bad at this. Oh, I could imagine he'll nail it a lot quicker than I will. For some reason, he seems to just nail these games really well. Okay. You know what? Let's do this. Carefree melody. No, hang on. Those two. Let's throw that on. No. Let's throw that on. Let's just do that. You want the damage? You know what? Screw it, let's go all out. I'm just gonna soul build this and see how I go. Although the nail damage is nice. Okay, I'll try that next. Come on, gather me my soul, and I'll just avoid for a while. No, that's a bad plan. What am I... Okay, this was stupid. What am I doing? That does a lot of damage, though, if I can hit with it. Let's try this again, because I played really terribly there, but this is actually not too bad. What the hell am I doing? Too early. Too late. Oh, he landed on top of me there. Okay. This is kinda fun, but I think I need to change it up a bit. I need Carefree Melody to have those extra chances when I'm an idiot. That's a weird mixed build. Let's go for nail build. Okay, so it's those ones. Throw that on. No. There is Carefree Melody with that. Why not? What does heavy blow do? I thought it increased knockback. They're not seeming to be knocked back much. Yes. Why did I walk into that? Just... Oh... Why am I deteriorating at my abilities here? I don't know. I don't think it's working for me, the heavy blow setup. So we're going to... go... Right. Definitely want that. I definitely want that. Let's try this again. Why am I not why am I doing this? What are you doing? Would you like to hit me again, please? Thank you. What am I doing? What am I doing? Why am I doing what I'm doing? What is happening? Why am I doing this? Not the boss, the dumb decisions I keep making.
Yeah, that's what it's feeling like. Is a lot of starting to do significantly worse. Gonna go back to this purely because I've done the best with it. I don't think that's due to anything other than some psychological thing for me, which is weird. I think I just played better when I had this build as opposed to anything else, as opposed to the build actually helping, but which is why I'm going back to it, seeing if it is psychological weirdly. Not quite. Ah! I dodged that. What am I... What? Why did... Sure. Yep. No, never mind. Apparently it's not psychological. I'm just an idiot. Oh, you've got to be kidding me. Let's try again. Why didn't I dodge? I don't know. Because I chose not to for some bizarre, inexplicable reason. And that time I just wanted to stand in the way of the sword. And again, because the sword feels so nice, doesn't it? And then I didn't dodge, move out of the way of the bloody bubble. The bubble. Why didn't I move out of the way of the bubble? Because he was down, and I didn't think about it for some stupid reason. Oh, I did not notice that. Yeah. Why didn't I dodge? I don't know. I just wandered casually. Oof. I'm playing like an idiot.
Hollow Knight is missing entire armor. I don't think I've ever noticed that. That's really interesting. Thank you, both of you. That's a detail I don't think I picked up on. Excuse me? What am I doing? What? Nah. Oh. Why? Why am I doing this? Why? What? Why am I? Why am? What? Again, why am I wandering like... Why am I not dashing? Why am I... What is happening? Why am I doing the things I'm doing? For me, yeah, I think Grey Prince Zote is harder in the sense that this guy's patterns I find easier to learn. I'm just making dumbass decisions. Whereas with Zote, I find his patterns annoying and cumbersome to get a hold of, and you cannot land, and yet you have to land because he just sends wave after wave after wave at you. I don't think it is. I still want to avoid getting damaged. I still don't like when I get hit while I've got it. It's more like, hey, you're an idiot, here's your save life button, is how I treat it. So it's not making me want to get hit more unless... I mean, with some bosses I use it along with some other things to make sure I get hit and do things that way, but not with this one. It's each time it goes off, I'm still annoyed that I got hit when I shouldn't have been. So I don't think it's doing that. Okay, I'll try yours next, Ibrahim. Yeah, it's still me being an idiot here, though. Why are you walking? Look, just reset it. The issue I've usually got with Mark of Pride for bosses is that most of the time you don't need the extra reach, but you just have to position yourself well, or at least I find that for me. That's the bit that I keep screwing up the most, is whenever the damn nails come out of the ground, is I stand right in the wrong spot. Every time I just stand in the stupid spot and I know not to, and I keep doing it. Because the gap between the nails is so fine that when you don't stand in the right spot, you take a nail to the scrotum. Oh, I missed that, didn't I? Good. Oh, good. Good. Fantastic. I'm loving your moves here. Oh, good. Hit me some more. And then I just stand in the bubble. Stand in the bubble. I can see bosses that would help for me for this one. When I'm going to hit him, I'm getting close enough anyway. Mark of Pride's not really doing that much. I agree, it's a fantastic charm. I used it most of the way through the game. I just think there are certain bosses where, like, you kind of got to get close to him anyway, so Mark of Pride, like, with this guy, you got to be pinpoint precision with where you're standing and everything as it is. That, Mark of Pride really doesn't add a lot to it for me. I can understand why it might help, but for me, I'm already dealing with stand in this gap, so I may as well go with the stand this close to him, but not too close. No, why? Ah. Excuse me. Oh. I think I'm at the stage where I think that exhaustion has set in so extremely that I am definitely just playing so much worse than at the beginning of this stream. What I might end up doing... That's fair. Yeah, I think I need to get used to him a lot more. So what I might end up doing is random impromptu streams. If people want to show up, they can. If they don't need to. And I'll just do that rather than trying to schedule them, just to keep practicing more often, rather than, 3 days apart or thereabouts is what we've been doing. And maybe shorter streams, so maybe like an hour or two instead of the 3 to 4 that I normally do, and just closer together, but random impromptu ones when I feel like it, as opposed to trying to schedule it. Yeah, I think I might do that for a bit, just to get used to this, so that I'm building up the skill rather than taking a break, resetting part of it and coming back and then hitting exhaustion and doing terribly. Sorry for the lack of progress in this stream in the 3 hours 40 minutes of it. I would like to have managed to get through this at least once, but apparently that isn't the case. Yeah, I don't know why I'm having as much trouble with him as I am, because I understand what I need to do, and I just can't get myself to do it, for whatever reason. Yeah, I think here's a good place to end the stream, because I am just deteriorating in my skill here at this point. But thank you for coming along. Have a good one. Be kind to yourselves, be kind to each other, and I'll see you in the next video. Yeah, Jonas, you might be right. I might get it in less than an hour after resting and trying again. But yeah, we talked about a lot of different games. I enjoyed that conversation as well. But yeah, I'll probably run a stream, not today. I've got other things I have to get done. I need to edit the StarCraft cartoon video and then record either today or tomorrow another of the game that is thus far title being quiet on, to see if I enjoy it any better. And then yeah, after that, so tomorrow I can probably fit a stream in at some point. It might be the same time as normal streams, it might be earlier, it might be later, but I'll try and get about an hour and a half to maybe 2 hours stream there, and then rather than the full length one. And then maybe I might try it almost daily as well, just whenever I've got the free time to do so, and just throw it up there. So we'll see what times that is, but yeah, have a good one. I'll see you next time. Bye.